guys, welcome back to our Koalafied podcast. We got Koala Puffs as always and Tone.
What's going on, everybody? I'm super excited for this episode.
It's extra exciting today because we actually have a special glass guest here today that's going to be teaching us all about the glass, because a lot of us use glass to consume, and there's so much history and so much personalization behind it. So today we have somebody who's very informed in the glass game. Slabby, how you doing? Thank you so much for being here with us today.
Well. Thank you, Tone, Angela, for having me here today.
Dude, of course.
Yeah, these guys are not lying. Glass is like one of my favorite things in the world. It's one of my favorite mediums for expression. And it's one that seemingly I've just been around for a long time. And it's an interesting, very similar to cannabis. It's an underground culture that is coming up. And
yes.
So a lot of the best stories, some of the best lore, there's no book. You know, there's no place on the internet you could find it exactly written. It's existing in the minds of the creators, the collectors, and just everyone who's invested in the community. So, yeah, this is such a huge honor to be out here to represent for the Boro scene.
No,
really
of
appreciate
course.
it.
I love it.
We got a chance to meet you because you invited us over to your glass blowing studio, and a lot of our audience has seen the experience to go and just even blowing a marble. Like, there's a craft to it. There's a lot of art to it. You had taught us a little bit of like the difference between the colors and how they take to heat, and that really showed me, like, I just never really understood how much goes behind glass blowing.
Yeah, I mean, for me and for the beginning of my story, when I first started collecting glass,
Which was when?
that is gonna be like 2008, 9.
I was in high school.
I had just moved to the United States.
I wasn't smoking weed.
I was speaking Ukrainian, trying to figure out what English words meant.
You know, so fortunately for me, I grew up in Santa Barbara, California. You know, obviously California, we have a rich culture of cannabis.
Yeah.
But definitely for me, and it was something that I didn't realize when I was growing up, but from like a very young age, I was aware of cannabis dispensaries. I even had friends that had medical cards. And so for me, I was kind of always around the culture. I didn't realize that it was kind of like growing right in front of my eyes. But particularly for glass, I bought my first bong. But I had no concept for what glass blowing looked like. It wouldn't be for very many years later that I went to a glass blowing studio. And so even for me at that beginning point and for years forward from there, I honestly thought it was like wizards or big dudes with beards and girls in fairy dresses making magic in castles. I just had no idea what it looked like.
Wow.
I mean, that's D-Rec with a beard over there.
Yeah, I was going to say most glass blowers I know fit that exact same description. That's too funny.
But you meet so many different types of glass blowers. Like, we have had a chance to meet Alyssa here. Shout out to Alyssa sitting hanging out with us.
Very talented.
I mean, there's just so many different ways that you could take the glass blowing.
And so, yeah, that my portal into it, and it's a similar portal for so many people, for collectors, for artists, was just being a fan. You know, when I first ever got my first glass bong and piece, glass is like very beautiful. It comes in beautiful colors.
Yeah.
It's like such a reflective substance, you know, off sunlight, off this.
And then you see all the percolators, and it's like so cool to see how people work with things.
You dive into this, like, the ritual, you know, beyond just like the device as a portal and means to consume cannabis. There's like also this like huge ritual behind it. Actually, I'm like stealing that little bit from one of my favorite glass blowers, a legend in our scene, but Dosh World is his Instagram. He was part of Degenerate Art, but he talks about it. He says that moment where we like share the pipe and we all have this conduit of energy around the glass, the stories being told, the memories being had, the laughs being shared, all that energy goes into the glass. They actually say it sounds like some wook shit, but
it's true. Everything is energy.
Yeah, it makes sense. It really does.
Well, they say glass, or specifically borosilicate glass, I believe, don't quote me, I may be wrong, is like a porous crystal. So like similar to crystals, it does absorb energy. And like I'm a firm believer too that even beyond just like the artists in the studio, whoever's there like hanging out contributes to the energy of a piece being made. And so yeah, recently it was such a big blessing. We got to have Tone, Angela, Mr.
Jerry was there, Simon. It was cool.
That was a great day.
And everyone being in the room, it doesn't matter if you're the like most skilled glassblower in the world, if it's your first day trying it, everyone's energy contributes to like these pieces being made. And so actually, yeah, this piece here is a collaboration between that artist I mentioned, Dosh World, and another one of my favorite artists, JD Mapleston. Yeah, please check it out.
I do know the name JD Mapleston.
Yeah,
That's a
JD
legendary
Mapleston.
name.
I know, Tone, because you're a mothership collector.
I am a
Mapleston
mothership
was
collector.
actually one of the first artists, like the first crew at Mothership. He was actually the first artist to create a fab egg in the production,
which
and
is
he actually owns that piece to this day. JD is a huge glass collector. I actually spent a night in Oregon at his place, and at the end of the night, we had been telling stories. He was sharing all these stories with me. He actually gifted me that piece, and he told me, "Cam, take it into the world, share its story."
You told us that it's like an older piece, right? That's like 20 years old, 30
2004.
Years old? Yeah.
2004.
Iconic to keep a piece, you know, take it places with you out of the house and keep it in such great shape.
The care, you know what I mean? The respect for the art piece is just so cool. Like it's an heirloom.
That side,
it's a
like
glass heirloom.
all of it looks really cool, but those little, it almost looks like it's like alien, like
well, that's Dosh's signature technique, and it's one that I would consider truly timeless. Like this piece was made in really 2004, but I feel like the aesthetics still hold up. It's still true, like. It speaks like back at that time, the real name of the game was hand pipes. Bongs weren't as much of a thing.
Dabbing wasn't really a thing like that either.
You can see in how that piece was designed, it's like meant to be ergonomically held. Like it fits well in your hand, you know? Yeah.
So you cap it. Yeah, this does sit really good.
And we take that energy from all the way, you know, glassblowing stems back way before 2004. Actually, we consider like the godfather of our industry, Bob Snodgrass, who actually began on the Grateful Dead lot and created this technique of fuming in glass, a technique that's been carried on, continued, expanded upon, but has been a fundamental of the scene. To this day, where we are in 2025, where we have in Van Nuys, California, Slabby Studio.
Yep.
Which you guys
come
have
check
visited.
It out, y'all.
Yeah. If you guys are ever around
an
the
incredible
Valley, Van Nuys, you got to come out. Actually, right now, she's in the room with us, maybe not on camera, but her piece is one of our resident artists at the studio is Alyssa Meltz. Alyssa. She is just killing the game in these sculptural work, also functional work. She was just a featured artist at Puffco Pivot, Glass Top, Drop, Marketplace. Sorry, I butchered their name on that one. But Alyssa's doing all kinds of cool things.
Hell
and she is not only an artist working in our studio, but living at our community space.
Well, she's also teaching too, because she taught me how to blow. And that's like really cool.
If you guys want to check this one out.
You do.
And Alyssa's not the only artist working there. She actually is definitely one of my favorite, and I feel like one of our best artists creating in the studio. But one thing when we built this Slabby Studio, like I mentioned, I've been collecting glass for more than half my life. And for the longest time, I never tried glass blowing. I think I was genuinely afraid to do it.
You were just appreciating it from a distance.
I think I liked it so much. I looked up to the artist so much. I even started to become a running joke. I would go to studios and almost get like pestered to, Slabby, get on the torch, try it. And I was always so nervous and afraid. And actually, it was another friend of mine, Ryan Hoyt Glass. He actually made that recycler that's sitting in front of Tone.
Oh, shit.
And he made that recycler at Slabby Studio. It was a really cool experience for me. I got to watch my friend make the pipe and then add it to my collection right after. He's one of my favorite glass blowers. But a little bit before that, Ryan was actually the glass artist who finally made me feel comfortable to try.
That was the first person to get you to glass blow.
And shout out to him.
He twisted my arm a little bit, but he was like, Slabby, you got to try it. You love it so much. Like, you will like it, even if it's not something you want to do for a job or this or that. He said it will add this depth of appreciation to everything. And so I made a marble with Hoyt. That's what he goes by. And then shortly after, Ryan was looking for a studio space to work. I decided I wanted to learn. And so we came together and we built Slabby Studio, which is in the backyard of our house. It's like a really cool thing too. I feel like we're kind of living the 90s dream. We get to walk out the back door and be in the glass blowing studio. And yeah, me and Ryan kind of began it from there, and then it's grown to include Lissa. We've had traveling artists come out and teach workshops. Marina Glass, our good friend, our friend Kyle Meltz, who I think you guys got a little bit of his work.
We did. We actually have it with us. We brought the car. It's our favorite carb cap to use at the house.
I love it so much.
Yeah.
It's so cool. It's just a very nice build.
The mushroom design is so cool. Our live stream chat always loves it as well because like we get the close-up shots on the banger when we take dabs. But honestly, our biggest thing at the house is our fingers were always sticky from grabbing the marble. And ever since you gifted us this, like this is the marble we look for in the house. Of course, outside of the one that I made. But yeah, really fucking cool.
Yeah, Kyle's been killing it. So we've been doing these workshops. We've been doing private lessons. Like we mentioned, Alyssa's been opening up her space. Actually, it's not officially dropped yet, but we'll make the first official teaser here. We actually in August are going to be having the first official Alyssa Meltz workshop at Slabby Studios.
Let's go!
Followed by a showcase. More details on all of that coming soon.
I'm gonna RSVP
for sure. Congratulations, that's awesome.
But yeah, so we were looking at that pipe from 2004. I wanted to show you guys a pipe from 2025, and this one was actually made at Slabby Studio. It was made by an artist named Woj Glass. Highly recommend following him. He's a young buck out of the like Ventura Oxnard area.
Okay.
He's actually working in a legendary glassblowing studio with an artist called Sean Daddy, legend in the game, another must follow. But this like form of fume it's one of the most classic glassblowing techniques, but it's one people are still exploring to today. Seth was the one that fumed the glass pipe. And then he made that during the weekend of the Kyle Meltz workshop. And he wanted to put a marble from every artist who was there in the studio.
Epic.
So there's actually a mushroom one from Kyle on the bottom. There's a jellyfish from Sloth at the top. The back marble is actually made by yours truly, Young Slabby. This
right
is
here?
This is my first pipe collaboration. And then we got two more from two of our apprentice artists that were working at the studio, Tom and Drew. But this is a truly collaborative piece. It's a super special one to me, obviously, because it was made in our studio. It was made by Seth Woj, who's like such a great artist. He also too, he like tried to make it ergonomically. He actually called me before I came here, and he didn't get to hold the piece. He hasn't seen it finished. But he asked me, he said, how does it hold in the hand, Slabby? And I said, three fingers fit in there perfect. Like it was designed to be. You know, it's meant to be taken on the road.
You feel like you're holding hands with the pipe?
Yeah, like I just feel comfortable with it. Like I could have a conversation. It's in your hand, but it doesn't feel like you have to grip it. This is nice.
And so we were like planning this thing, me and Seth. I think we were going to try and do like an auction or like some special way for this piece to find a home. But right before coming over here, I called Seth up, Woj, and I told him that I got this really cool opportunity to come on a podcast and speak about glass and the history and my history, and that I wanted to gift this pipe to the host of the podcast. So Tone, Angela, this is actually a gift for you guys.
No.
Oh my God.
Yeah, a real relic piece.
Wow, thank you so much.
Thank
That's
you.
crazy.
This is amazing.
Yeah, and I will get
just
you
like,
guys
I
all the
love
info and all the artists. Again, we got Sloth on there, we got Kyle Meltz, we got Young Slabby, and then formed by Woj Glass.
So cool.
We got two other apprentices on there who've not figured out their glassblowing names yet, but when they get them, we'll let you know.
Thank you
cool.
so much.
Man, you know what I kind of want to do? I want to take a dab and use this as the marble.
I
want to cap it on top.
Honestly,
I wouldn't even have thought of that.
I would have never thought of it myself. I don't even think Seth probably thought about that one.
And then if it's packed, you could hit it right after. You know what I mean? We got some pieces here. We got the disorderly. Maybe
That's
we try
so
it.
cool.
And then we'll wipe it after, so it's not like left over there. I don't want to be disrespectful to the piece, but I just feel like since these were like marbles, it would be really cool to use them as a marble.
I'm one of those people. I say pieces are meant to be used. Use the hell out of them. Use them mindfully. You know, obviously you don't want to put it on a surface that'll like scratch it or like do whatever. But get a piece dirty and then just clean it real nice afterwards. You know, that's the best way.
A little bit of isopropyl and it's brand new.
So
I mean.
You said this one was also made by a new glass blower, an apprentice.
Yes.
I love the like mountain like I don't even know how they did that. This looks so great. Like anybody that's listening on the podcast, like I know you can't see right now, pop on over to YouTube and look at it. Like it's like It's like there's just like
it's encased in. It looks like a glow, like a snow globe.
Yeah, and it almost looks like it's like flowers inside, but almost like a mountain range. Like it's just like, and it's stepping out from the side. It's so cool.
Something I like about the piece too, as I hear you appreciate it that way, is like it kind of stands for me that like while there is this like level of experience in glass, and I kind of mentioned before, it like kind of kept me away from the torch for a long time. There is this really cool world in this medium of collaboration where everyone can kind of stand together. And I think that piece is so cool because you got a couple artists who have honed their tech and their craft. And then you have some people that just did abstract, like what they felt on the torch. And I think it all holds well together.
It does.
I think it's a super cool one. And I'm so honored. Honestly, I've never collaborated or been a part of a hand pipe, so you guys actually own the first hand pipe that Young Slabby's ever put in.
That's so cool. Thank you so much.
We're gonna ask Weavers to 3D print a stand for it.
Oh wow!
Because I have a glass display case in my live streaming room, and I don't want to allow that to just lay on its side. I think it needs to be displayed a little bit.
For sure.
So I'm gonna see if we could get like something 3D printed that'll hold it and display it like nicely in there. That is so. I really appreciate you. Thank you so much. Yeah. That's so cool. That's gonna be I don't even think I'll ever want to smoke out of it. I feel like I want to like keep it as clean and perfect as. But you really? That's why I was like the
one beautiful thing about fume is, as you smoke through it, the color will shift and change.
Oh shit! Maybe we do need to smoke through it.
I do say it is cool to keep things like clean and crispy, but I'm the kind of dude to wear my brand new kicks through the dirty grass. So don't ask me what to do.
I'm that way too, but that's. I'm that way too, but I like never know how the artist feels. Like if it's like, like, oh, you disrespected my, my work, or it's like, oh, you have it on display. Everybody feels about things different.
That I would say is one of the other really cool ones of like the glass art scene. I think it's like one of the last true Americana movements we have where, if you are a big part of the glass collecting scene is like this relationship between the artist and the collector. I think the best artists like, have this patron artist kind of relationship and really value their collectors. I see Alyssa do it. Alyssa, beyond being, I feel like one of like the best working, just like hardworking glass artists I know, she just kills the game at managing her relationships with her collectors, keeping them engaged. I know you guys know all about that because that I feel like is the foundation of like this Koala Puffs brand, and it's so cool. And so again, thank you guys for the opportunity to just be here.
No problem at all. I feel like being on social media, like it's really hard for it to feel like it's real sometimes. So the connection outside of the DMs and the comments is so needed with the audience. With other creators, and more so recently, like my Instagram's been deleted so much and it's becoming harder and harder for me to get my account back and reach people, that I had to switch up some of my content. And a lot of it was like, oh, let me see what I can do, and I quickly fell in love with all the behind the scenes of stuff. For example, growing all the like, just from seed, even from before the seed, for you to set up the tent for that environment to be ready, like everything around that, and the personalization and how you do things, and how if you place a fan here or there, it's going to change things. So getting a chance to see like like being pushed into learning more about that, I guess, and then coming out like the flower growing, the rosin making, the glass blowing is just so incredible that I'm so almost grateful that my pages have been deleted so much.
We're at this ripe time, and actually I love to hear you say that one because unfortunately I just had mine strike. So if anyone's looking for Young Slabby, it's Young Slabby 2 right now.
Oh shit. No, there was a wave on Instagram. Yeah, like, I don't know what happened.
A bunch of great pages were gone, and
it'll be back.
In past times I've like, because honestly, and it's an interesting one for people who maybe are not like creating content consistently or in this fashion. For me, it's this like big expressive thing. It actually is the root of the Young Slabby page. When I created the page, my first videos I was creating were just dab videos.
Yeah.
And it was to showcase the glass piece I was using, to showcase the hash artist that made the hash. And I was doing it just for my own personal enjoyment. It was like a catalog of like what I tried and like the different things. And at the time I lived in a small studio apartment, in Berkeley. I was actually subletting my living room. So I just lived in this small room, and I would set up my dab thing on the end of the table and make these little videos out of the window, and people just really liked the video, and there started being people who either liked the pieces or just liked the music that I was putting in there, and I found like community and connection through passion for what I like loved, you know.
Yeah.
And it just makes me think what you said there is, I feel like for so many underground movements, cannabis, borosilicate glass art, it's often spawned from like places of oppression, like that, where you can't do this, or you're not able to do this, and it's from the people who, when they're told, oh, you can't do this, keep figuring out ways to do it. And you know, some people might call me crazy for this one, but I actually do see this big illusion between, you know, the struggle we as content creators are facing right now of just being deleted, and we're in such a better place because it's just our digital landscape being attacked. But there was this big thing in the early 2000s called Operation Pipe Dream. It was done by the American government, really against the community of borosilicate glass artists. And it was this big crackdown at like an infantile point of the internet where they said, we don't want anyone shipping pipes. And the glass artist said, well, this is our art we're creating. You know, how can you make this hold on this thing? And right there in the early 2000s, they did this Operation Pipe Dream. And some of the best artists and artists who are still creating today, Ryan Turfs, Jerome Baker.
Love Jerome Baker.
Yeah, that's another.
That's an OG in my eyes right there
Big
with
name.
the style of.
They were all raided by the federal government. If you ever hear these guys tell these stories, they came into their homes with assault rifles because these guys were making bongs. These guys all went to jail fucking and spent time down for this industry and the scene to create a world today where we can have a place like Slabby Studio, that we can have a home studio, and it changes the culture completely. But it is this one where, and that's why I'm so glad you guys brought me here today for history, is that to push the culture forward, we have to know the history, we have to honor the history, but we also have to like break down some of the gates. And so we're at this like such an interesting impasse with glass, with cannabis, where obviously we have like the legacy, but then also we have new creators coming in, like Ryan Hoyt, my former shopmate and like one of my favorite artists in the world, what I think one of the most like up and coming functional artists, really was mostly self-taught. But in a world of the early 2000s, you would not be able to do that. There was no thing, you know. So
can't YouTube it.
We're in this dramatic shift, and you know, it all ties to like this world of cannabis, which I know that you guys are a huge part of. Tone especially, I know, because this work he did on the Secret Sesh back in the day, that was the place in LA to get dabs.
It was the place to meet other stoners. It was like,
it was a great time. The early 2010s.
As 11s. What I would say, you know, fellow veterans and lifers of this cannabis community industry scene, the development's rapid. Things change quickly, you know, new things come in, new stuff come. I mean, you know, I know Tone knows this one. We all lived in a world where BHO dabs were the norm.
Oh yeah.
That was the go-to. Solvent list did exist, but it was such a unknown or unpushed craft that really only the people who knew had it. It wasn't being produced even to a scope that like a world today where there's so much rosin in the traditional market.
And that made it so expensive. Like the price point for entry was crazy.
And so, you know, it's what an interesting time to be alive, especially right now where I don't think we're at the end of the story. We're still
at such a beginning of
it. We might be at the end of the beginning.
And so I meant to give this guy to you with the pipe, because how could you give someone a pipe without giving some flour to smoke out of the pipe?
I mean, I think it's already awesome that you brought a pipe, but damn, we can think
so
above
this
and
is
beyond.
for you guys. And it kind of ties in a bit to the story of Slabby Studio. But
this
I'm
is insane looking.
2 years old, and the pandemic was like this really difficult time for me. It altered my entire, like I was doing events and like just a lot of social work, and I all of a sudden was not able to do that. My lifestyle like dramatically changed, and for the first time I ever started just like wondering, what is my future gonna look like? I had been like pretty comfortable in cannabis for some time. I had like ran a delivery service in the medical days of 215 called Terptown in Berkeley that was very successful. I did a project called Cosmic Supper Club that was, I believe, I want to say the first solventless dining pairing. So first course solventless dining pairing. We have a spiritual successor called Cannabis Culture Club that we do to this day. But the pandemic shook everything up for me. It really shook my life up.
Yeah.
It really made me think about what the future would look like, and also made me think, what the hell do I want to do with my life? You know, I've always been working around weed, always done a lot of marketing for companies, a lot of representation. But like I'd mentioned, I never blown glass. I'd actually never grown weed. I'd visited lots of farms and visited hash makers, but I just never done it myself.
Don't tell me you grew this weed.
Yeah. So this is from
what?
Our personal home grow, which we call Living Soil Dynamic.
This
it is a collaboration
nuts.
between me and my friend Cody. His Instagram is
It's insane.
Raising Trichomes. But at a similar time that like I decided to build out the glass blowing studio, because I was kind of like, dude, what if I die tomorrow? It sounds crazy. It sounds like a very morbid thought, but I was like, what if I die tomorrow? You know?
Yeah.
Well, I also said, do I want to ever be in a place where I say I didn't try the things I wanted to try? And so we built out the glass blowing studio. And then if you don't know, if you are a resident of California, you are legally allowed to have 6 cannabis plants, I believe, per person in the household.
Yes.
So everyone in California should be growing their own. And I'm surprised more people don't. And I'm surprised that I had all seemingly knew all the people, knew all the stuff. And so around the same time we like built out to build Slabby Studio, we built this project of Living Soil Dynamic. And Living Soil Dynamic represents a home personal grow. We're cultivating for what we want to put in our body, the quality we want. It's not for
Living Soil
batch or
Dynamic.
scope. Yeah, Tone put the acronym together there. LSD. No funny business there.
Well, that's why when I came to your house, sorry to interrupt you, but last time when I came to your house, Alyssa goes, "You want to take some dabs?" And she hands me a jar. It says LSD on top. I looked at Tone. I said, "What kind of a party did we pull up?" I didn't even know you could dab LSD. I've never tried LSD. Well, up until today, I guess I microdosed today. I tried it today. Fun fact, I'm on it right now.
Same.
But yeah, like up until then, I was like, "What? We're dabbing LSD?" And Alyssa was like, "Living Soil Dynamic. Let me tell you. Let me break it down the name for you."
Yeah, it kind of came
really good
together.
rosin.
Like, thank you so much.
Yes.
It is so much. And
I see why now. Look at this flower.
when we first started doing it, and so like a big thing for us, when I decided I wanted to do a grow, I wanted to do the best possible grow that I could. And I'd heard this term of living soil thrown around. At the time, I didn't really understand it. I didn't understand it till we built our soil beds and we had our soil in our house. And big shout out to SD Microbes in San Diego, one of the best providers for starting living soil. He actually was able to give us a home delivery,
Wow.
you know, which is like, there are ways to do this. And in terms of living soil, you are recycling your soil. It also has the least of a like footprint on the world in terms of producing cannabis.
Okay.
You're not throwing the soil away each time. You're just re-amending it with natural amendments. You're not using any like synthetics or nutrients. It is what I believe like the best expression of like organic farming or like Korean natural farming in cannabis.
So cool.
And I think personally for me, I think it makes like some of the just like most expressive flavor in cannabis, and taste. And you know, it's a factor a lot of times we talk about like flavor, taste, color, but smoothness is a big factor for me. I'm taking a lot of dabs throughout the day.
Yes.
You know, sometimes I have stuff that tastes so great, but it's almost like volatile on the throat.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I need not only a great tasting dab, I need a smooth dab as well.
Yeah, that's why I usually go for the fruity flavors, because I feel like it's a little less harsh on my throat than like the gassier ones.
And so a similar time that we started building out the Slabby Studio, we started doing the Living Soil Dynamic. And like I said, we're just doing a small personal home grow. Big shout outs to the people who are doing this in a larger scope and doing it to a way where like more people can try it and access it, and like, that is always so cool. But for us, we wanted to create something that we loved to consume ourselves and something that we could share with our friends. It actually ties into like one of the reasons like I wanted to do the glass blowing studio. I got to this point in my life where like gift giving is like a big love language for me. It's like a way I love to say I love you, and I really wanted
you love
to
us. You brought us gifts.
Yeah,
we
yeah,
love you
we
too.
love you too.
We appreciate you.
We appreciate it. Thank you so much.
And I wanted to be in a place where I could give gifts that like I either made myself or like that came from our space. It's great to buy a gift, but like there is something to like even
Like
even
I
if
made
it's
this.
not, even if it's not, or even if it's like for me, I'm like almost like a proud. I don't want to say father, like
Dad.
an uncle.
That's what
like
I thought you were gonna say.
Like when I get to show Alyssa's artwork, or
Yeah.
I get to show Seth's artwork, or Kyle's, or Marina's. It's like one of my highest honors. I feel like I'm like a coach or something, And so just getting to like, rather than go to a Target or a Walmart, and no going to Target, like we rather go to Costco if we were gonna do that. Just wanting to share something that like came from like our own space, and so that's why we like started the Grow too. When we first started doing it, we actually were just getting everything washed. I know that you just did your first grow and got it all washed.
That was
too,
so cool. But I will say this. I do want to figure out a way to do it at home, because going to a facility is great, but that I want to be able to do it at home, because not everybody has access to a facility, and I was so blessed to be able to go, but like I want to see the whole process at the house.
You would be surprised too, like there are so many inventive ways to set up a washroom. And like also too, it's not like a high space dependent place.
No.
To be honest with you, I have smoked like some premium, amazingly made rosin and hash that was washed in a kitchen with fucking the AC on blast, maybe like a cool bot in the space. Like it's one of those things too, even in glass, same shit in glass blowing. You could have the most badass torch. It's called like a Herbie is like the one a lot of glass artists like sought after or like seek after. But if you're not a good glass blower, you're not going to know how to use the Herbie.
It applies to everything for sure.
Yeah.
So that would be my thing too, is like even too when we did the grow, like I kind of had this, I was like, I want to ball out on it, and did like a little bit of a larger space, the largest we could do. If I were to give advice to anyone at home, I would say get a tent. And like there are a bunch of great grow tents where you can make a quality atmosphere, and you would actually be surprised that atmosphere of the tent is going to be easier for you to manage than a room or
100%.
some other shit. And that's going to be the best place to like grow and start. And then also just big reveal on something I found out over the thing too. I don't think there's one that's better. And like, I do really value the like farmers that are growing in scope, because we have more people coming into the world to concentrate every day. To like feed this demand, because some of the smaller batch stuff just it's not able to circulate or like go out that way and like such a fashion. So like starting small is actually like way better, and you'd be surprised when you're doing a small grow, it actually opens up this freedom where you could grow whatever genetics, and if it fails or it's like not great for hash or rosin, you're not out $1 million or something,
Yeah, I definitely did too many plants on my third harvest, the one that I had just recently finished and did the wash with. I told them I think I only want to do like 4 to 6 plants on the next one, so I could more carefully pay attention to each
so
one.
we've done 3 harvests of Living Soil Dynamic, and this last harvest was like probably my favorite in its like diversity.
3?
Yeah, so 3 cycles of grow. So we've done
This is your third cycle?
Yes, but we do have a little cheat code. So my partner Cody, he was growing in his own space, and so his space, he kind of lost access to his space, and we made a happy partnership and like meeting place of collaborating. So Cody
already knew what he was doing.
Cody
I need a Cody, because
that's magazine looking weed.
this is This looks like it would be on the cover of High Times.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Like, it looks like it was on the cover of High Times. Like, this looks like exactly what's been on the cover.
It's a unique color. Like, you don't see a lot of cannabis with it's almost like a bluish.
It's almost got blue to it.
Yeah, with the it's incredible.
One, this strain is called Gary Payton.
I love
Big
Gary
shout out to Kenny Powers Up, Bay Area, one of the founding cookies genetics breeders growing out of the Sunset in San Francisco. I believe this Gary Payton is a cross between the Y and Snowman. I lived in the Bay Area for a very long time. Bay Area has just as much as like Humboldt or Mendocino has like a very rich cannabis history.
Yes.
Particularly, you know, everyone knows cookies, but like this cookies really began out of these small grow houses in the Sunset District of San Francisco, where Kenny and Serge and all the other guys were doing this breeding and doing this work and like creating just unique novel strains for cannabis. And
such as Gary Payton.
Yeah, and so for me too, where I'm like such a fan, like big shout outs to Ogre Farms. They were actually kind enough to like get us this genetic. That's like one of these things that some of these genetics
I love Ogre Farm. They have incredible rosin.
Have I tried it?
I don't think so. I forget his name. He's a big guy, right?
Pepe and Danny are the team over at Ogre.
Really nice dude who makes killer hash.
Oh.
We have to try and get some for sure.
And so I will say this one. We have washed at our space at Living Soil Dynamic, but now we actually are in a happy relationship with Ogre. And so all of this Living Soil Dynamic is washed and processed by Ogre Farms. So if you look on the left side of the thing,
nice.
the Ogre labels on it.
Wow.
And,
Are they LA based?
yeah, they are.
Nice.
Yeah. I like the collaboration. I love that where it's just everybody's dabbing, you're having a good time, you meet friends and you know what?
Would you like a dab? I feel like we could
yes. And as we're setting it up, you know, everyone's gonna have to keep up with me today. I'm a bit of a storyteller. Sometimes the tangents go in random directions, but I promise that they all come back together. I'm actually gonna pass this back to you. I'll take dealer's choice. I don't want a huge dab tone. But before my story of ever growing, I had two friends, Casey and Easy. They are like the loveliest pair, some of my favorite people in the world, and they're craft cannabis growers. At the time they were growing in Nevada City, and they had never washed for rosin, and they had actually came out to one of my Cosmic Supper Club pairing dinners, and trust all the rosin. They grew amazing flower, and they said, Slab, we want to make rosin.
Can you help us wash
Yeah,
it?
and so I actually connected them with a company called Heads That Roll. Really big dogs in the field,
name.
Ego Clash winners. Actually, were the guys who popularized Honey Banana and really like, I'd say, put that one like on the market.
Great flavor.
But we got them connected with them, and all of a sudden, Gypsy Trap Farm turned from just a flower brand to what today is like one of my favorite craft concentrate brands. And when I first met Casey and Easy, they did Living Soil, and I'd like heard the name like strapped around, but they were the ones who really taught me about the soil health, how they like take care of the soil, how long they've had the soil, how each harvest the soil gets better. So I always tell them like, there would be no Living Soil Dynamic without Gypsy Trap Farms.
Wow.
Almost down to like, I realized after, like when I look at our jars and I look at their jars, there is like some uniqueness in just the branding, the aesthetic, and just the thought of like doing a craft organic kind of brand like that.
That's so amazing. It's really like, honestly, a lot of, and I can't speak for other industries. I can speak about the cannabis industry. So many things overlap with each other. Like, just so like this person helps out that person, the person that you met through here, like it just turns into something, because the community might seem big, but it's so small. It intertwines so much.
That was lovely. What was that, John?
That was the Nana's number 9.
From the Red Dragon.
I've actually never
the one
tried
that I
Red
thought
Dragon.
was yours.
So.
You now you have. I think their stuff is really good.
But yeah, it was a super special one. Just like I got to call Seth before we came here, I was talking to Casey, who is farmer, founder of Gypsy Trap Farms, one of my sweetest friends in the whole wide world. And she happened to be here in LA. And she was like, I want to come by the house and see you, Cam. And I was like, I have to be out the door. I have got this very important podcast today. I can't be late. I said, oh, who's the podcast? I said, with Koalafied. And she said, I am such a huge fan of hers, Cam. She's so sweet. She said, actually, that you reminded her of like one of her very close friends. And that's actually the energy I catch from you too. Like just an old friend in the room. And like also too, like big applause to you, Angela. Like having that energy that brings people together, that drives and builds community is like, it's not easy to upkeep, but like I see you like consistently creating, and it's like such an inspiration for me. Angela, big inspiration to me. Tone, big inspiration to me. Casey and Easy at Gypsy Trap Farm is big inspiration to me.
You're a big inspiration to us. It all just like shifts. Or Alyssa, huge inspiration to me for sure.
Alyssa, huge inspiration to me on the daily. Alyssa has to live with me, so you guys put that in context or whatever.
I'll come pick you up a few times a week. Okay.
But Casey was in town. I said we have to be out the door so that I can be at your house at 1:15, Slab. She just got a brand new puppy, Echo, who's the sweetest pup in the world. So it was a little hard to leave the two of them.
I'm sorry.
But Casey wanted me to pass this along to you guys. This is for you and Tone.
Wow. Gypsy Trap. Wow. Thank you so much, Casey. Yeah.
And this is bonkers. This is from just so I don't butcher it, I'm going to read it from what Casey told me. Let's just check it out. So this is a one keeper from 108 seeds. It's a lemon tree S1 crossed with cookies and cream. It's notable that it finishes in just 38 to 40 days. So you can get this great pull for the color, the flavor, for everything. I kind of mentioned this, but Casey and Easy at Gypsy Trap Farm have had their soil for a long time. This answers that question. This was grown in soil that they have worked and amended for over 10 years.
Whoa.
What? A decade of love and intention has gone into creating that jar of rosin that you guys are about to smoke. How fucking cool, dude.
That is so cool. And to think about how many more things that soil is going to produce over the next few decades that they still use it. That's so crazy.
Casey's one of my favorite people, and Casey and Easy are both farmers, but and both actually two of the best speakers I know. But she said this. She said, no-till fruit and plant ferments. And that was actually one of the coolest ones. When I once went to Casey and Easy's grow space, they were fermenting all these like fruit teas and stuff. And they were telling me like, no, Cam, this is through testing. They've seen that not adding, it doesn't add terpenes to the cannabis, but it will enhance the levels of the terpenes just present in the plant already. So like the growers like this who are doing this work to do the experimenting and to find the things that are, this is not chemicals that are from the earth, from the world, scientists. You know? And so she said, no-till fruit and plant ferments, IMOs from various altitudes and regions in NorCal. I'm kind of a noob. I couldn't tell you what an IMO is, but hopefully someone who sees this knows. But that's also too, like one thing in cannabis, glass, everything, never be afraid to not know something.
Oh,
that's like that one big thing if I could share with the world is like, I've earlier in my days in this cannabis industry scene, I oftentimes would feel like afraid to maybe not know something or to look silly or dumb. These days I rush into that opportunity because I know it's just like an opportunity for me to learn. And like, we're so grateful. There's so many industry leaders and just like powerful community members, I think, in this cannabis space that will give you the direction, will like give you the lead. I mean, that's one of the reasons too, not to take away, but why I love the work you guys are doing with the brands through the podcast. It's just like the community you're building. We did this stream of at the Slabby Studio, and just to see how involved and interested and engaged genuinely was in coming to check out our studio. That's energy you guys have built for like a super same way to the 10 years of the soil. It's all circular in
it
this
is
life,
all
dude.
circular, honestly. Like, but it's crazy how it comes around, because now Miss Loud Queen and I will be linking up in Berlin, and we're gonna be going to a couple of events outside of like the Mary Jane Berlin that we're flying out there for. So just the community is being shared so much, and that's why I really enjoy. Like, I love filming content at home, I really do, but going out and like meeting people and getting these conversations going, like, I know it's LA and it's like networking, but like, I'm just trying to bond with somebody. I'm just trying to connect. And if something comes out of it, great, work related. If not, at least we got somebody in the room that has the same energy as you.
That's I think the best way to navigate LA. When I first moved to LA, I moved probably now about 3 years ago from Berkeley, California. And like, I was so snug and tight in Berkeley. I had a comfortable community around me. There's like a lot of just strumming up. The further north you go into California, you know, there's a rich cannabis community and history, and I seemingly had wound myself tight in there. And then I had this opportunity of a larger space. This is where we have the studio, that I was going to be able to kind of like host private events, and that was like a big thing for me. And so I packed up my life. I honestly, 2 days from the call for the opportunity, I got a U-Haul, because they said you have to sign the lease if you want.
He's like, I'm out.
You know, and it was a tough exit, but I packed everything. I got down to LA, and when I first got down here, the pace was a little difficult for me. It was so fast, and like I seemingly was like going out sometimes and not finding my tribe, or not making the connection, or maybe being overwhelmed. Like, one thing I just didn't get was the geography of the landscape being so wide. You know, I moved to Van Nuys and thought I was moving to LA, you know, and so then
you're in LA.
It's only an hour and a half to downtown LA.
You don't want to be in downtown LA, though.
But I actually have so much love for the valley. It's
I love the valley.
I love the valley as well.
Ever. But you know, I learned with LA, it's this thing of there are more people here than, like, you know, short of New York, where we got this like large landmass, and there's so many pockets of culture and vibrant culture. And so, like, to make it work in LA, you have to like continually immerse yourself, and you're gonna go out and like 4 times out of the 10 times you're gonna find your tribe.
Yeah,
Those are the only
but the rest
times.
of the time it's not gonna work.
It's not gonna work. You're gonna not like the event.
Yeah.
It's maybe not gonna be the best thing for you. But to find those 4 gems, you must swim. And then once you get your couple years in LA, you're standing a little bit taller and a little bit more comfortable. You know the directions
you can
go. You know the times you can go and travel different places. But yeah.
I just want to say, this is some of the best colored dab I've ever seen. Like, this is insane.
And that, I think, ties into what she was saying on that, like being able to pull it and still get that like terpene capture.
Like, it looks like lotion almost. Like, it's insane. This is amazing. I can't wait to try it. I got a dab full, not a small one. I'm going in. I'm going to try it out.
Hell yeah.
See how this is. Thank you so much.
Yeah. And as you guys are trying that one, and we're just like
Cheers.
on the topic, I guess, of points of inspiration or influence. Have you guys ever tried a space gem before?
A space gem?
Yeah. What's that?
I have not.
It's an edible. It's a solventless edible.
Oh God.
I don't want you guys to try it now. I'm sending
you
guys.
came in with TikToks that are not TikToks. Here we go.
Trip tax.
This one is for to go home and to try at the comfort of your home. But it kind of ties into this story of one of like my favorite people in the world, and another big point of inspiration to me, but Wendy Baker. Wendy Baker is the founder and owner of Space Jam. She is a Humboldt local and resident.
Shout out to women.
And she is, oh man, maybe I'm butchering this one, but essentially the forefather of the modern day solventless edible.
Okay.
And there are a lot of people who do solventless edibles. There are a lot of people who do rosin edibles. One thing that's
they're
not just
the
one
same
thing. Huh?
Rosin edibles and solventless edibles, they're not
Oh,
the same.
well, there's rosin edibles, but then there's a smaller portion of edibles that are made with ice water hash.
Okay.
And
Makes
so
sense.
Wendy is like a big believer that ice water hash is like the truth to the medicine. It's like the power to her space jams. And Wendy is, like I mentioned, is a resident of Humboldt County, but also just like a very involved community member up there. Before she even started Space Jam, she has like a really sweet story. You can like see it on her page, but she started the brand like I think shortly after becoming a mother or like when she was pregnant. But like this brand started in her kitchen, and she's built it today that it is featured in all the Catalyst stores throughout California, all the artistry stores. It was one of the things that showed me too, these big chain stores actually do a real good service to independent brands that they carry. Wendy is a small team, just her team out of Humboldt, and they're able to be supported, and everyone across the state of California can get Space Jam because of Catalyst and artistry. So actually super cool.
Is it gummies or it's a cookie?
It's gummies. It's a gummy. And this is actually the newest. They just added a bunch of new products, but this is called the Flying Saucer. So Space Jam is like all galactic themed, space themed. Like I said, Wendy is like one of the coolest fractals of just like energy in a human I've ever met. But this is a new product she just put out. It is called the Flying Saucer. Okay. It comes in a full 100 milligram. So if you're really trying to send it to space,
one gummy,
you could just eat the whole thing. Or if you were trying to dip into it, you could slice it. But I would advise you guys save this for, honestly, since we did dive into those like trip tacks earlier today, one thing I really like at the end of a psychedelic trip is like a nice rosin edible, just like, or hash water ice edible, or ice water like hash edible. It just
helps with the come down?
It helps with the come down. Like, you know, the one thing is like,
you didn't tell me about a come down when I ate that TikTok.
No, it's not a come down, but just like any energetic expense, like you're exhausting energy when like you take any substance, you know, when you drink, even when you consume cannabis, you know, it's going to have a feeling and effect on your body. And like a small microdose of LSD or mushrooms, it's not going to make you have like a heavy come down or wear you out. But you may like towards the end of the evening, like, because usually it'll be like a 5-6 hour experience, start to feel like a little bit more tired, but sometimes maybe still awake. Maybe your body's feeling tired, but your mind's still awake. And so that's where I find like an edible, particularly Space Jam, is like a great one.
We're learning so much.
I will be taking this on Monday night.
And yeah, and I briefly just like dived into it. But anyone who watches this podcast, go check out Space Jam. Yeah. Check out the story of Wendy Baker. Look into Humboldt County. Humboldt County is like this mecca of all the craft cannabis that we love. And it's a huge part of my story. So that's why I wanted to share some Space Gems with you guys, share some Gypsy Trap Farm. And then really this one I'm just like super proud to share with you guys. But I have brought our entire lineup from our recent harvest of Living Soil Dynamic of rosin.
Are we trying them right now?
No. Okay. I wouldn't. This isn't hot one, so I'm not putting you guys on the spot like that. I would like you guys to open all of them.
Okay.
Absolutely. Smell all of them and just like have like a feeling, a moment with them, and then I'd like you guys to each pick one jar.
Okay.
Your favorite of the flavors. And so a cool one we actually do have. We did 2 soil beds of the Gary Payton. So one that got dried for flower, and is that flower that's in front of you guys, and one that was processed to rosin. So this is the same strain. It's always a cool experience, I think, when you can smell the flower, you can smell the rosin.
100%.
Tie it together,
Yeah, so I'm just going to pass these over. Feel free to crack them. Smell them as much as you want.
I love how it says LSD on the top.
Don't put your fingers in them unless it's the one you really want. But there is no wrong way to eat a Reese's on the Koalafied podcast.
I'm gonna guess that whatever this fruity one is, that might be the one that I'm.
That's actually a gassy one. That's Sour Dub. That's an East Coast.
I thought it was a watermelon on it, but it's not. It's a bubble.
It's a bubble. It's a bubble. And so again, to the other like flex with Living Soil Dynamic, like I said, I got my partner Cody who manages our cultivation. But the one thing I kind of like spearhead and drive is the packaging design.
Yeah, it's cute.
And we try to have some narrative to it, but this drop, there were some ones like Skittles. Skittles has got this crazy history in our space. some people will say it's a grape ape, like Sherb, whatever. And honestly, when I smoke Skittles, I just kind of think of Funky Kong from Donkey Kong. And so for the first time ever, we put a cartoon character on a jar on our Skittles run. So a little less narrative there, but on our Blue Zushi Lemon Dough, I thought it was like a really cool design. I worked with our designer.
Yeah, a fish and a lemon on
there.
Yeah.
And then like a sushi kind of theme. Like big shout out to the boys at Zushi fucking stocks.
Oh, yeah.
And that smell is different too. Because I just smelled the honey banana going into this. The terpene levels are completely different. So this
one, actually, that is the only one of the jars that is a mixed wash of materials. So we grew Blue Zushi, we grew Lemon Dough. And the one other difference between all the jars, I'll say too, is that the Blue Zushi Lemon Dough and the Skittles were from our summer outdoor that we did. We created a large shaded structure, and I encourage anyone, if you have a comfortable space, explore using the sun, dude. The sun is like the best way to grow cannabis. It is also much cheaper than indoor growing, just on your pocket, just with no electricity costs, and it's better on the planet too, generally speaking, if you're doing it the right way. But yeah, the Blue Zushi Lemon Dough and the Skittles are from our summer run, so those are technically sun grown. Everything else is indoor. Everything is cultivated in living soil. And I mentioned earlier, we acquired our starting living soil from SD Microbes, and then we have amended it 3 seasons from there.
Wow.
The honey banana is just...
That's the one I wanted. Get your claws off of that one.
No, it
I wasn't
smells...
even going to let you smell it because I was like, I'm keeping this one.
It's just so sweet. It's got such a...
If I had to give my read of them, I would say the honey banana, it's a classic honey banana. It's sweet. It's creamy. I
tried it at your house. I loved it.
Then next fruity leanings, we got the Skittles and the Blue Zushi Lemon Dough. But those are going to be more of a zesty fruity, almost like peppery, so to speak, like very tarty too. Not that sweet that you're going to see in the honey banana. From there, we get into our gases. We have the Chihuahua, which is a very berry kush crossed with sour diesel. To me, it reads like very forefront gas heavy with this nuanced like end of berry from the berry kush. And then we have the sour dub, which is the East Coast sour diesel crossed with sour bubble.
It has a heavy sour diesel
that
nose.
One is just straight gas. No nuance to
That's
it.
That's your favorite, probably.
This smells so good.
And then the Gary P is going to be a little bit more nuanced, almost like a cookies, like OG. It like leans into like those creamy notes, but like with a little bit more in there. I would say in terms of uniqueness, like that's like the most unique of the bunch to me. But I think they all have playability, and like maybe if you guys take one home tonight, you're gonna miss the one that you didn't take home. So I'm interested to see what you pick, but there's no wrong way to go.
Terp FOMO is my biggest fear in life.
Yeah, it was really nice to smell the Gary Payton dab and the flower. That's why when I passed it to him, I handed him the flower as well to smell at the same time. It's really good. I tried the honey banana at your house. I really, really liked it. So I know I'm going to be loving on these dabs. I really appreciate you. Tone, what's your choice?
I think I'm the Lemon Dough Blue Zushi.
Oh, you were the fish and lemon one?
This one, because I love lemon. And I know that Blue Zushi is probably going to show through a little on the flavor. Like
I think that'll actually be cool too, because basically, Angela, you got one of the indoors. Tone, you went with one of the outdoors. So like if you guys want to, I don't know. I feel like sometimes at home, just getting into some healthy debate is always a fun thing. If you guys want to do indoor,
we love debates at
indoor versus sun grown. You guys could do like back-to-back dabs of those and like really like weigh and evaluate together, and like that's a cool thing too. Like, I think in terms of like creating a culture of community around concentrate, because traditionally concentrate has been like this very niche end sector of cannabis, like compared to maybe like just general flower, vape carts, edibles. Like we're a much smaller island.
We only make up 3% of the community.
The gate to come into it was for so long just like much higher and like just difficult, and like I'm so grateful honestly for creators like both of you who create platforms where we can like speak on this stuff, because I do genuinely believe in education and like where we can empower anyone to just like have the best user experience with these products. Because I just love using all these products. I love dabs, I love glass pipes, like that at the end of the day is the root of it all for me, you know. So any way we can share that positively, we can host conversation. And I really have to say again, I'm blown away at just, I've done a couple podcasts, but I will say what I loved here just off the base setup, we have the disorderly conduction in the house, which this is one of my favorite devices. Takes away the torch, which I do think is a cool part of the ritual, but can be intimidating.
I think, scares new people.
Yeah, it can be intimidating.
It's very intimidating.
And I will say this one for the disorderly too, in a setting like this where we're recording,
it's quiet.
The noise of that
absolutely
the torch is like gonna just deconstruct the conversation.
Also,
yes.
the temperature levels there. You know, you're not wasting your dabs by taking it too hot or too cold. We've talked about that a couple of times in our podcast and our live streams.
Big shout out to the disorderly. And then I think we got the thermometer on the table, one of my favorite devices for reading a temperature.
This is the most precise, I find.
That's what I would agree and say the same.
Yeah.
You know, I know everyone has their personal preference, and I think that's like one of the coolest things in this like space of electronics around cannabis is, dude, there are so many cool things out. There are cool things coming. Everyone can have their own favorite device or their favorite brand. For me, I would say though, for the IR readers, I agree with Tone. I find the Terpometer, particularly this latest model with the metal tip, to be not only the most reliable, but just also the most convenient to take on the go.
Yeah, goes in your pocket.
I seem to do like a lot of events and things.
He's done a lot of innovation to this. It used to have like almost like a dabber end that you would touch to the actual quartz, and
very different product.
Yeah, he's done a great job of innovating and just keeping it sleek. It looks great. Like I like the setup.
Yeah.
Where you have like your disorderly, what type of dab mat do you have? Your dabbers, your glass, the marbles.
The personalization.
And so, yeah, I love really that. Cool. I love that.
And that's a big one too, where another just end of gratitude is making space on the Koalafied podcast for Boro culture, for discussing glass art, for bringing up the history a little bit. And like, you know, hopefully this will lead to, if you're at home watching this, like, and any of these stories interested you, take a deep dive, ask a friend, hit up a glass artist, connect with community to learn these stories. That's the best place to learn them.
Yeah.
But huge shout out to Tone, Angela, everyone here working on production at the Koalafied podcast for making this space. We actually did a really cool one just like 2 days ago.
It's so good. It's so good. The flavor is so strong. It's insane.
Just a couple days ago, we did a really cool opportunity. There is a comedy show called The Shit Show. It's actually an acronym. It stands for Smoke Herb It's Trendy.
Oh shit.
And it was created by two buddies of mine, Abdullah Saeed and Joe Savage. And they did this pre-pandemic as kind of like a comedy show. They used to do this content on Vice called Bong Appetit.
Nice.
Love that show.
And yeah, recently Abdullah actually just put out his first scripted television show to Hulu. It's called Deli Boys.
What?
I actually do believe it has got the first televised dab in it. They take a dab just the same way we do.
I got to
dipping in ice.
100%.
Yeah, you guys got to run the first episode. Wow. It was a really cool one for me. My parents are both from India, but I was born and raised in Santa Barbara, California. So I'm sure like a lot of people, you know, in this country, I went to India one time. You know, I am not the best Indian in the whole entire world. But it's been cool as I've grown older to like connect with people from like similar backgrounds and culture, like learn their stories. Also learn too that there's like no one story of like what a culture or a background looks like, and especially in countries like India, there are so many subsects of culture and different pockets and things. But Abdullah was like a big inspiration for me because just he was like a creator that kind of looked like me, and I was like, holy shit, you know, this it really inspired me. It really set off a spark with me. But they just hosted this shit show. They just brought it back. Abdullah was hosting. It was a lineup of 6 amazing comedians. And also on the lineup was Lissa Meltz. They made space.
Alyssa? A hidden talent you didn't tell
the
us.
Goldfish in Glendale.
What?
Actually, big shout out to the Goldfish in Glendale. If you
Oh,
guys have
I'm
never
going to
been,
your next stand-up.
Yeah, I didn't know you did stand up. That's so awesome.
She just displayed glass art there.
Oh, okay. I was like, what?
I was like, tell us.
Let's go.
But what was cool about it was, it was at a bar, and they were serving like really amazing Thai food. Shout out the Goldfish. But like when we ran it by Josh is like the curator of the show. I was like, yo, dude, like, could we bring glass art? He's like, let me check and make sure the space will like allow it. Like, I was like, we'll make it like, I said, Alyssa makes some of the most tasteful art. We'll make it sculptural, whatever. And then he said, no, can bring whatever you want. Like, this is a shit show, let's show. And honestly, for me, unique spaces to show and talk about glass are like a big highlight for me. I think as much as like at like the heady sessions or the things, like everyone knows there. You know?
It's the places that don't accept
so
it.
like a similar, we did that opportunity earlier this week. Big shout out Abdullah, Josh. Check out the shit show. Check out Deli Boys on Hulu. But then this opportunity popped up, and I was like so over the moon because the way that Angela phrased it to me, she said, Slabby, we'd love to have you as a guest on the podcast and have you talk about glass blowing and hash and why you do the things you love to do. And it was like the best intro to like set the energy for me coming here today. And yeah, I'm just over the moon right now, guys.
Whenever we go to your spot, when we leave, I feel like we're always talking about how nice it is to listen to you speak about glass or hash, because you communicate. You're very eloquent. You're very well spoken. And I feel like your passion for what you're speaking about really comes through, and it makes me want to focus more and like really listen in. And so I think you have a gift for spreading the history and spreading the culture.
Thanks so much. I'll share just one more anecdote from my back end, but I have an older brother. We actually have like quite an age gap, 9 years. My mom is like, if you've ever had an Indian mother, you would maybe know, but big thing in like Indian culture is doctors. Indian mothers seemingly love doctors. They really like want to have a doctor into the world. And so my mom's wish was to have 2 sons who were doctors. That was like her big dream. And then they had my brother. He was actually born in India, moved with my parents from India to Saudi, to Atlanta, Georgia, to Santa Barbara, California, where I was born. And then my parents were having a difficult time conceiving. And this is like one part of the story that I'm still like learning to understand for myself. But there's like this crazy process. It's called, or not crazy, but it's a super scientific process called IVF, in vitro fertilization.
Yeah, we've had some friends that had to go through that.
Yeah. And it's like this really powerful process of like, when a parent or parents really want a child and they really want to summon a child into the world, it is like this process. And I'm not a scientist or a doctor to speak on that end of the process, but like from I guess being a part of a family of the thing, it's like huge. It's a big thing. And at the time it was like a very new thing. I think like a very expensive thing. My parents were not like billionaires and had moved to like a whole other country, but like this was a dream for my mom. But I always tell her, sometimes like when you wish for something so much, you get the package in just like a completely different way than you would expect. And so I was born, and I was actually named after the doctor that like helped my parents out. His name is Dr. Kamran Nazat. It's actually a Persian name. So I often tell people I'm Indian, but I have a Persian name. Dr. Kamran Nazat actually has like a really cool story. He has changed the lives of women across the world. He like created a groundbreaking surgery for endometriosis that like has massively shifted shit for people. And it's actually made for like traditionally in Persian culture, it's spelled with a K, but there's now like a rising in the names of babies as Kamran because of this doctor.
Wow.
And so my parents named me after him and were like really hoping for me to be like this character in the world that was like similar to my brother. My older brother is an anesthesiologist today.
Shout out.
Yeah, he pulled off the thing, and he was always this person that like I looked at growing up and was like, oh man, like he is just so blessed, dude. Like he aces everything. He gets it all right. Everything works for him. And I've come to realize he's just like a really hard worker. He's like one of the hardest workers I know. When he like sets his mind to a goal or to something, like he's locked in, where I'm more of a free flowing spirit, and it's okay to be all of them. But it was this really like big learning lesson with me and my mom of like me being different than I think what she expected. And like one of the key differences and why I brought it up, and like I really appreciate the compliment on the speaking. It's like a craft I've been working on and lately been trying to hone like a little bit more professionally. But when I was a kid, even though we were 9 years apart, me and my brother went to the same school district. So we had similar teachers through a couple different pockets. My brother was an actor in his youth. He was like lead in all the school plays and everything. I did not get a speaking role in a play until I was in 7th grade. And I also had a bit of a speech impediment.
It happened.
When I was like younger. And so like I had to do like just speech therapy in the public like school system. And then like by like 3rd, 4th grade, it still kind of stuck. And so my parents like got me a private speech therapist. It's like a weird thing, like I to even think back on, but instead of going to sports, I was going to speech therapy to practice my S's and my R's, you know.
Okay.
But actually last year I was doing the announcement for Cannabis. I was doing the award ceremony announcement, and I got a compliment from someone similar to Tones, and they said, "You're so great at speaking." And I was like, "Oh, thanks." So what do you do? And she said, "I'm a speech therapist in the Humboldt public school system."
Oh my God, it was her.
It wasn't her.
Oh, okay.
But like,
that would be
wild. It just flashed back to me, and I was like, "Holy shit, dude!" Like, I was a kid who had like a speech thing, fucking, you know, and I'm announcing and like doing all this shit or doing whatever. And like similar thing with weed, like for so long, like I would fight with my family, seemingly with the law, seemingly with the fucking whole world around me, to do weed as a career or a profession. And then it even made me download for so long that this could never be a real job, or I could never really do it like that. To this world today where I'm like, holy shit, I'm so blessed to know people like yourselves, Angela, Tone, Lissa. We also have Daniel, my media expert, Canna Snapper in the room, who are all doing such cool things in their individual lanes and collective spaces that, you know, if I could end this with any message to the world, it's that no matter how hard things might be, no matter what hurdles like there might be to learning a new craft, to just sucking at something, that's like what kept me away from gospel. So I was afraid to suck. Just don't be afraid to suck. Like the first day you try to do these things is the day you get closer to doing them. And like my friends who knew me when I first started building Slabby Studio and Living Soil Dynamic, some of them thought I was crazy. Like when I was doing it all, they were like, "You're never gonna pull it off. You're not gonna do it. You're not gonna stick to it." But we're here.
Makes you want to do it more.
We're here. We're here 3 harvests later. We're here with multiple workshops under the glass blowing studio, brilliant live streams that have been hosted, real learning, I think, pushing forward of the craft, showing new people, epic pipes made by like some of my best friends in the world, epic sculptures. Yeah, I don't think, I think I said some shit earlier about being worried about dying, or if I died the next day and not like having done it, and like
you did it.
And there's still so much more to be done.
This is the beginning of it too.
Thank you guys for letting me talk my ass off.
No, we appreciate having you here. Honestly, like I think we're gonna want to bring you back in like a year or so, or 6 months, just to kind of see how things have changed and other things that you're working on. Because I think there's so much more to cover than we were able to do here in this a little bit of hour that we have.
Absolutely.
Really appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. Shout out to everybody that tuned into this episode. If you guys have any questions, drop them in the comments below. We'll try to maybe go through them on the next podcast that we do with you.
Oh, yeah.
Truly appreciate this. Tone, you got anything for us?
We appreciate you. I think we have to dive into a couple of these flavors because that honey banana is calling my name.
That's calling my name.
All right. We'll see you guys on the next episode.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.